What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Triple Thrift Podcast, where we talk about reselling, YouTube, you name it. We even talk about whatever you want. Welcome to this podcast. I hope I make you guys laugh. You guys know me; I'm a jokester, but
I'm already laughing because when I said counted down to start the podcast, you took the deepest breath ever. You're like, and I was like, Joey, please don't yell.
What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, good night, dessert, whatever, whenever you're listening to this podcast. Um, I hope you sell something right now. Cha-ching! Let's go. It's like 8 o'clock at night here. It's when me and Drew are wide awake. Josh is about to fall asleep. I hope everyone's doing well, like I said, and let's say hello to the boys. Drew, what is going on, man? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I've had a heck of a day today. Yesterday was Joey and I's live listing. And for those of you who were there and you're listening to this, it was a crazy night. We got like an insane amount of support from the viewers for literally no reason. We just were starting the list, and all of a sudden, super chats started coming in. People were buying stuff off my eBay store. It was just insane. Dante, Prison of Profit, super chatted like $125. Christopher, shout out if you're listening to
Dude,
this. He
he
donated like
donated like
$200 in super
it
chats.
was nuts, and he
It
bought
was
like three things from me and Drew each. Like Christopher, shout out to you, man. Like, and Dante, I love you guys, and everyone who was in the live. It was super breathtaking. I couldn't even list and I was like, wait a second, let me list something. I wasn't even caught up with the chat until like 1 hour. That's how fast it was going. I just appreciate all of you guys. So yeah, go ahead, Drew.
Thanks, Joey. So anyway, it was a really good time, and I just spent a lot of the day today packing up sales and just being really grateful. I went from having like 2 sales that day to having like 20. So it was just insane for me, especially like for a Monday, Tuesday. It was just a really slow day. I don't know. I was listing, I was working. Nothing in my business model changed. It just was a slow day. And then all of a sudden, just during the listing, you guys went crazy. So thank you to everybody again. And so yeah, I just did a bunch of that today. I actually have been having some lower back issues, so I went and got a massage earlier, which I like never do. And then Danny went to yoga, so we like traded back and forth with the kids today. I had to go pick up my mom's stuff and do her shipping. My mom lives in Connecticut currently with my grandmother, taking care of her, and she has some stuff here in Florida still that she was selling on eBay. So once a week or twice a week, depending on how much stuff she has, I go over to her house and pull her sales and ship those out. So I had to do that as well today. And so yeah, I was cleaning up my office a little bit before this, and then I had a viewer sale from the live stream last night, a mug that I can't find. So anyway, Robin, if you're listening to this, I'm sure we've already worked something out, but I'm so sorry. It's so embarrassing. But even even the pros, I don't consider myself a pro, but can't think of the right word. Even the pros mess up, make mistakes, lose a piece of inventory. Um, and I did. So,
You
I have to take the
cornball.
loss on that.
You
Take the
cornball.
loss on that.
It's
I'm a
definitely a
cornball.
cornball move for sure.
What's up,
That
Josh?
nerd cornball move.
What's up, boys? I'm having a good day. I played golf today, as we talked about in the last podcast. Played in the morning, and I just was feeling kind of like, I don't know, not super motivated. Like even after golf, I was like, I guess I can get some work done today. Yeah, it ended up being a pretty productive day, but I don't know. Like if you wait around to get fully motivated before you start doing something, you're never going to do anything. Like of course we wake up, certain days we just have a lot more motivation than others, but when you're trying to do this full time, you can't just rely on those random bouts of motivation. You've got to figure out a way to get the ball rolling every single day to at least get something done. And just now, like before the podcast, I went out and picked, I think seven items from my death pile, photographed them and listed them. And it took me like 20 minutes, like 20, 21, 22 minutes, something like that. And I'm like, so many people just have that goal of like listing 5 things a day. And, like Chaz over at Side Hustle Network, or I forget if it's Network or Pros, but he did like the eBay listing challenge of like listing 5 things a day for like 30 days or whatever it was. And that was like a challenge. And people were, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times it's you overthink it. Like listing 5 things a day should take you like 20 minutes
Mhm.
tops. And I think it's just such a low bar to set. Like, oh, I want to be a reseller, so I'm going to list 5 things a day. Like, no, you can't list 100 things a day, but it's pretty easy to list like 10, 15, 20 things a day, especially if you're a full-time reseller, having basically 6, 8 hours a day where you can have the opportunity to focus on your business. So I don't know. That's something I was thinking about today because I played golf. I came back, went to the grocery store. I did a 1 hour live stream today on YouTube. I finished up a video that I'm editing that I'm posting tomorrow. Um, I just did a whole lot today. And if you take like small moments throughout your day and really focus on, okay, right now I'm going to list and just knock it out. I mean, that 6, 7 items knocked out in 20 minutes. That's more than a lot of people do in a whole day. So I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Cincinnati Picker and Shed Flips on their podcast, and they're talking about Shed Flip. Lonnie has his wife working with him now, and um, I don't know, they both shoot for I think like 20 items a day. I'm like, that's pretty good. Of course it does depend on the items that you have, but um, I don't know. I'm just thinking that I've said before in many videos that 5 items a day, 3 to 5 items a day is a good goal, but I just think that's low. I think if you really want to do this full time, you've got to get after it, and 3 to 5 items a day is not really getting after it.
Yeah, if you're a full-time reseller and you can't list 5 items a day for whatever reason, I don't
Any
care if you
items.
I don't care if you have 8 kids like flip the world. If you can't list 5 items without having any other job and this is what you do, you got to relook at your business model because you should at that point in your business have plenty of time and freedom to be able to source, list, and ship, basically every day. I mean, different business models work for different people. Like, Tim ships every other day, Osborne to Thrift. I ship
Hmm.
every day. But so, what Tim does is he does like full thrifting. Tim, if you're listening to this, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. But,
Tim's always listening.
he does like full thrift days where he we'll go out like all day and thrift or take a trip to Utah or, another city or state. And then the next day he'll focus on cleaning stuff. And then the next day he'll photograph it and all. And then the next day he'll list it. And then in
Hmm.
between that, he's doing his shipping like every other day. For me, I'm more of the type of person where I like to go buy stuff and then I like to come home and take pictures of it and list it right away,
Yeah.
or I like to stay up late and get it done. Now it depends on how much inventory I take in. If I hit garage sales and flea markets in the same weekend, I spread it out so that I have stuff to do during the week. But I'm not a big like all day sourcer type of person because I haven't found in my area where I live it's very productive to wake up at 8 a.m. and thrift until 8 p.m. I don't
Yeah.
come home with stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff. My thrift stores are not relatively uh, plentiful of the type of items that I like to resell. And I'm a pretty broad spectrum of items to resell. Like you'll never find video games in Central Florida. You'll very
Yeah.
rarely find, you know, very very high quality shoes at cheap prices. You won't find Ferragamos that often, or Air Max, Vapor Max type stuff at the thrift, or
Yeah.
anything like that. You'll find bread and butter shoes, Brooks, Nike running, things like that. But um, back to the point, for the most part, is if you're a full timer and you are, not listing 5 things, I think that you definitely need to get some motivation and talk to another reseller, or just kind of light a fire under your bum and, you know,
Yeah.
make it happen because you even you Josh, who you make focus more on the YouTube side of reselling than the reselling side of reselling,
Hmm.
you still can list more than 5 items a day, and you wake up and you play golf, and then
Yeah.
you shoot YouTube videos, then you edit them, and then on top of that, usually like by the time your wife gets home at like 5 6 o'clock, you're usually like, yeah, I'm clocked out for the day.
Yeah.
You spend time with your wife, you guys make dinner together, you do your thing. And so if you can do that all in a regular, let's just call it a 10-hour day, if
Hmm.
you're up at 6, but you don't really start working until 8 or 9, and then you're done by 6, you're a 9-10 hour day, you know, um, and even Joey, can still do 5 listings when he gets home from work. Like you
As
said,
long as
20
he's
minutes.
not on YouTube doing a live listing, that I think that's minute for minute. That's probably his least efficient listing
Yeah,
time of all listing time.
that's more of my entertainment, somewhat listing, trying to listing on eBay. But behind the scenes. We do a lot of work. Me and my girl, we definitely do. Destiny's been working really really hard full time. She's been getting out there grinding, going out to a thrift store every single day, bringing it home, listing it. She's working very very hard. I'm really proud of her. We got to put out a video. So Destiny, if you're listening to this, let's make a video. But yeah, being a full-time reseller is difficult. Today I pretended like I was a reseller with her because I was off today, and we went to like 10 thrift stores, and just shopping in itself is kind of tiring. You go
Yeah.
to like all the thrift stores, especially 10 of them, and you come
Like
home,
with the limo video, like
dude.
we went to three thrift stores,
And we
and like
dude
I was exhausted.
when we came out of the limo, you could see we were like, oh, like you were like, we're tired. Like this
Time
is
for a nap,
yeah, it's
son.
time to go to sleep. Like,
I wasn't. I was ready to go,
I
man.
know. Drew was
I
like,
was
can we just? Drew was like, can we go go source so we can bring actually list it on our eBay stores?
I was like, Josh came inside and he like sits on his couch and he's like, "Have you guys seen the latest podcast with Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan or something like that?" And I was like, "I don't want to watch a podcast. I want to go to the bins."
Yeah.
Because for the video, when we shot that limo video, we didn't go inside the bins, but we were right there. So, that whole day I was like, on edge because,
It's itching.
the rules were that everything we buy, has to be donated. And I was pulling stuff off some of the shelves. I was like, dang, this is some good quality stuff,
Yeah.
you
A
know?
pair of Air Max 97s, the
Yeah.
neon orange ones we found. Those were like $75 shoes, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Crazy
Merrills, we
day.
found those Merrills. And, but
I
yeah,
actually went
so
I actually went back to the second Goodwill we went to in the limo video, and the manager was there yesterday, and she's like, "How'd your video turn out?" I was like, "It was good. You were in there for a couple seconds." She's like, "Oh Lord, I didn't have no makeup on that day."
that's
She was
funny.
super nice about it.
Yeah. So that day I was like super hyped. I don't really the way that my body gets tired is like if I try to stop and sit down and take a break, I'm
Hmm.
done for the day. Like I'm out like a light. But I can go, I can list, ship, source, drive, and I don't get tired and I don't drink like a lot of energy drinks or anything, but if I get to a point where like I come home and then I sit on the couch for like more than 15 minutes, then it's when my body starts to kind of like react to going all day.
Yeah,
But I don't like get tired from doing reselling. I get tired if I like stop reselling, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And so normally that's the way I try to run my business or handle my reselling is just like not it's not I don't really consider it pushing my body. You know, I just like to be as productive as possible while I'm awake.
Yeah.
And so if I just stop and sit on the couch and be like, yeah, I'm just going to take like an hour break, I will have no motivation after that hour to get up and get back to
I'm the
work.
same way with like lunch breaks. I usually have to like if I'm home like editing a video, I'll have to eat in here and like work while I eat because if I like stop and take time to eat, it takes me like an hour just to get refocused. And this is like what I love doing. I think one of the problems with reselling is that for people trying to start their own business for the first time, they've probably never had their own business before. You're an exclusion to that. But like if you've worked for a boss your entire life at every job you've ever had, there's someone over your shoulder keeping you accountable for being productive throughout the day, and then you all of a sudden lose that and you are responsible for your own productivity. It's exciting at first, but if you are listing stuff on eBay and maybe sales aren't rolling in as fast as you expect them to, then you lose motivation and there's nobody behind you to make sure you're working. And I think that's a lot of people's problems, myself included. I'm not, I mean, this is like my dream job. So obviously I'm pretty motivated to do it. But on days where, last week I had that toothache, I just took a day off and I didn't really do anything that day. And to be honest, I didn't do anything the day after that either. I was just like, I was feeling better, but I still just wasn't super motivated, just like today. Um, but I think that's the hardest thing. Like nobody, nobody cares if you work or not. It's totally up to you. I guess your family, if you've got to provide for your wife and kids or husband and kids or something, then they care. But other than that, nobody's watching you. It's up to you to be responsible enough to do the work every single day. And I think that's uh, I don't know, just a rough
And
thing that newer resellers have to go through.
you'll real I mean, I don't know about this, but you'll realize it that one day where your bills aren't, or you really can't pay your bills at one time, and
Yeah.
you think you're working hard and you're like, dang man, I need to get out there and go to either more thrift stores or garage sales or something, and you're not bringing in the income, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get out there and go work. And you know you think about how much time you have, but time slips away. You get into
Hmm.
looking an item up for researching an item, and you're like 30 minutes in just trying to find this one thing, and it's like, and then it's not worth it. You're at a thrift store, it's like, what am I doing? Like, let me look for something else. Or it could be, it's very time consuming, and especially doing YouTube and responding to Instagram DMs or emails or anything. It's a very
Yeah.
time processed activity that we do here. But you got to keep your head focused. And Drew, you say like some words of wisdom. It's like, I got to stay. It's not motivated. It's not dedicated. It's like
Lubricated.
something like
That's not what I say.
Well, now I'm curious. What is it?
I
it's
have no idea what you're talking about.
no no, you say like you have to stay focused. What's your word, Drew? Come on. My dad says it all the time. I don't know how to say it. We'll come back to it, but um
It's so funny that I have no idea what you're
no,
saying.
you say like a certain
Um,
word that really hits home to me, and I can't even believe my mind's blank right now. But I'll remember it.
I think that it is, going back to what Josh was saying, that it is healthy to take breaks, and I think that's really important. Is for different people, it's different methods of breaks. Like some people, it's just good to take a complete day off and unfocus from reselling. Like on Sunday, for me, I could have come home after church and gotten a lot of work done. And we were just talking to some friends after church, and like, my guy friends and my wife's girlfriends, their husband and wives and stuff like that. And we were just talking, and we just kind of were like, hey, you guys want to go play old frisbee golf, disc golf? And so we made plans to go play disc golf, and then we went out to dinner afterwards, and it was like a great time, and it was just nice to spend time with friends and to not think about reselling and just kind of like um, enjoy what, how do you say, like, I don't know, just enjoy not thinking about work, I
Yeah.
guess is the only way to describe it. And so, I really just had a good time. And but for some people, like Daily Refinement, for example, he talks about, you know, you work for an hour, and then you reward yourself with a 10-minute break. And then you work for an hour and you reward yourself with a 10-minute break, or I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Um, and some people like me, I would much rather just list for 6 hours straight and then take a day off, versus like saying, oh, if you're going to list 100 items a day, you got to do this, 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 and this. Um, so, for me, it's a different style than other people who take breaks. Like, for Josh, it may be, hey, I'm going to take a nap, for 45 minutes or an hour, and then I'm going to get back to it. And then for me, it's like, hey, I'm just going to not work tomorrow at all.
Hmm.
I'm going to go to Disney with my family or something like that. And everything is okay as long as it's within balance. And I was talking to actually, I was talking to Robin again today, about full-time reselling, because she was asking me some questions, and I was like, listen, I don't know all the answers to give you. I'll do my best to tell you what I know. And one of the most important things is documenting your numbers, knowing how much money you're making, and then sourcing good inventory, and being organized. I'd say like those are probably three of the most important things. And I'm even not perfect. I lost that mug, and so um, again, it just comes down to you learning from other people what methods work for you and what don't. Kathy Ginger Marvin, she's got one of the best inventory systems that I've seen of any YouTuber. For her business, she does her what sold videos, and she's literally like, okay, I sold this pair of blue Crocs, going into bin A, row Z, and she just pulls it straight out.
Yeah.
And she never has anything not out of place. In my shed, that would never happen, because I've got a little bit of everything here and there. But it works for me, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. So
I've always said that like the to know whether or not your inventory system is good is could one of you guys come to my house in the morning and look at what's going out on eBay, look at my custom SKUs, and find my orders? Like, if it says B, you should be able to look and, oh, there's the big B bin, and look, and the item should be in there. So that's the litmus test of, is your organization good enough? Can another eBay seller use your custom SKUs that you put on your listings, or some information somewhere that you have that's easily accessible to find your items if they sold without your help?
yeah,
My
not me.
answer would be no.
My
No,
answer would be heck no.
no.
When I went to South Carolina to shoot the 100K video with you, my wife was pulling sales for me for one day, and she literally texted me and she was like, "If you died, I would sell this business,"
Hmm.
because she can't. For me, I know where everything is, and I have bins of clothing labeled like men's medium, men's large t-shirts, men's XL sweaters. Like I know where everything is for the most part, almost everything,
Except that mug.
except that mug, which I have one spot in my entire shed where all my mugs are, and it's not there. So I don't know if I sold it or what, but um, that's just what it is. And so, I need to be better at that. That's one thing I really want to work on. But because I'm so far into my reselling business, I would literally have to take like um, a whole 2 or 3 days, pull everything out of my shed and completely redo it with
Yeah.
SKUs. And I'm just not in a position where I want to take that time to do it. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I hope I don't die.
Yeah.
Joey, you just redid a bunch of your organization stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video on it. We got a bunch of bins. We got a bunch of bins over here. I have mine labeled like A through Z. Well, it's only like A through E, but Destiny has um, it's like B1, B2, B3, B4. It's whatever works for you guys, and that's what works for us. And then we got a bunch of we have shoe racks, and we don't inventory them because we could just look at them and be like, oh, there it is, So
Yeah.
that's how we have our shoes, and then our big items just kind of lay around, you know.
Yeah.
So we know where those are. Oh, dude, I remember the word. Discipline. Stay disciplined,
Yeah,
guys.
discipline. Being disciplined is very important.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That's the whole key behind like being self-employed. You can't be self-employed if you're not self-disciplined. Those two, like, you, they're not. You have to be self-disciplined
You
to run
better,
your own business.
Josh, you better title the video, "You have to stay disciplined," or something like that.
The one word Drew says every reseller must know.
Discipline.
the seven deadly sins of reselling.
I feel like Daily Refinement has already made that video like
He
20
has.
times.
He has. That's where I got it from.
I love you so much, Chris. So something else that I kind of thought of today is like not, I guess, remembering like where you were like in sales. And for me, it was YouTube. Like this month, YouTube is a little bit down this month in terms of revenue. And it's because generally it's just down. Not a lot of people are watching YouTube videos these days. And I haven't put out as much content this month as I have in previous months. But even though it's down compared to, Q4, Q1, it's still way up compared to this time last year. I think last March, like March 2020, I think I made like, I don't know, like $1,100 in 1 month on YouTube. So now it's, even though this month is still way down, it's still way more than that. So I'm trying to like think about, like, my business is still pretty new, especially YouTube. Like YouTube's only really taken off in the last 9-10 months for me in terms of like a serious income. And so I'm already finding myself like disappointed. I'm catching myself be disappointed in my income from YouTube when in reality it's still really, really good, you know? And the same thing with reselling. Like when you first start out, you're selling one or two things a month, and then it builds up from there. And you get into Q4 and you're making sales left and right. And then you get to Q1 and sales slow down. And sometimes you think you did something wrong. You think it's something that you did that's causing the slowdown, when in reality it's kind of just all cyclical. That you can't just your sales or YouTube income can't just keep going up and up infinitely. It's
Yeah.
always going to have, it's like the stock market. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's
I was
about the
going to say
long.
the same thing, yeah, about the
Yeah.
stock market. But thankfulness is extremely important. And, I think that's kind of hinting towards what you were getting at, is like not forgetting where you've been or where you came from. Is like
Hmm.
everybody wants to grow and everybody wants to move forward, but if you don't take time to remember, like, you know hey, I'm making, whatever the amount is, $5,000 a month on eBay right now, and I used to only make $500 a month on eBay. Like,
Hmm.
think about the difference that that's made in your life, or wherever you're at in your, reselling career today. And, just be thankful for that. And then, let that motivate you,
Yeah.
to work harder to meet certain goals. Like, goal setting is great. Um, that's kind of the thing that can help a lot of people, is goal setting. And you did that video with the the cookie sheet and the magnets and
Yeah.
stuff,
I still have it.
and and even if there's small goals like that, like, hey, I want, to list 5 things today. I want to, read my Bible for 10 minutes. I want to spend time with my wife when she gets home from work and not ignore her because I'm, just in my office listing or something like that.
Recording a
All of that
podcast.
is, you know really important. And
Yeah.
it there's just so many ways to win at reselling. I probably am sounding like a broken record at this point, but nobody's business model is going to be the one perfect business model that works for everybody, you know, and you have to run your business the way that it works for you, but you have to fix those kinks along the way.
Yeah.
You're going to find the kinks, and that's what you learn from other resellers.
I
You
had
can.
somebody send me a message on Instagram today, and she was asking, like, she was giving me her eBay solds. Like, she's like, in last year, I maintained 1,000 listings throughout the whole year, and I sold like $32,000 worth of items. Do you think that's good? I'm like, I mean, that's hard to say. It depends on your items, depends on what you're selling. And to be honest, like, I was thinking, okay, if you've maintained 1,000 listings throughout the whole year and you've only did 32,000 gross, that does seem kind of low. But she told me that she only sells books. So I'm like, okay, that kind of changes things, because it's super easy to list, easy to store, easy to ship. And generally books are going to have a low sell-through rate. So that changes things. And I feel like that kind of made her, I guess, more pleased with herself. I'm like, really, it's up to you. Like, do you feel like the amount of time and effort you're putting into your business and it is worth the money that it's making? Um,
Right.
I've seen some people on YouTube where they're spending, they're only selling clothes from the bins, but they're spending 15 hours a week doing that, and they're making, $100 in profit after fees, but before paying income taxes. So I'm like, I mean, you could get a good job at Starbucks working 15 hours a week and make more money, and you get health insurance.
Yep.
So it's just about finding a balance, about keeping track of your records, knowing how much money you're making, knowing how much time you're spending in your business. Because if you enjoy the process of reselling, it is easy to kind of lose track of time, like not realize, oh, I spent 6 hours at the bins today. You got to keep track of that to make sure it's worth it for you. But um, I don't know. And it's something, going back to my YouTube income for a second, I was thinking, like, man, it's down from the last couple months, but I always like to think about what I was making at my insurance job. Like, it was like $1,100 every 2 weeks was my take home pay. I'm like, it's still like, like, imagine going back to that, Josh, like working 45 hours a week at an insurance job, sitting in a freaking cubicle, like
Yeah,
people
that
looking over your shoulder every day, making $1,100 every 2 weeks, and I was happy.
yeah.
Like, I thought that was good.
Yeah,
So it's,
that perspective is mind-blowing when you really
Now you're making me
like
feel bad.
I used to deliver pizza before I owned my own businesses. I had a bread route and I owned a scooter motorcycle shop, which we've talked about before in the podcast. but I used to deliver pizza, and this was back when Danny and I first got married. And I was making, sometimes on a good night, I would make like between 150 and $220 in one night delivering pizza.
Yeah.
And that, like, and at the time, that
You
was a
thought you
lot of
were a
money,
millionaire.
you know? And now looking back on it, like today, I sold a DVD combo unit for $125 plus shipping, and I paid
Hmm.
$5 for it. And, obviously fees, cost of goods, blah, blah, blah. But I'm still going to probably, take home, uh, I don't know, after taxes, I'm probably going to take home about $75 net on that unit. If you
Yeah.
don't count taxes, it's still $100 take home before taxes, net
Hmm.
profit. And I used to work a 12-hour shift delivering pizza to sometimes make 100 to 125 bucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd make 200, but you know, I sold a random electronic for the same amount of money that it took me to work, a 12-hour shift delivering pizza sometimes. And that to me is just crazy. And so those are the things that definitely make me go back and just
Yeah.
stay humble, stay thankful, you know.
Thankful is key, man. Because now I'm thinking about like I used to deliver Chinese food, and like I would work an all day shift. Like we'd open at like 11 a.m. So I'd work 11 to like 11, a 12-hour shift, and I'd get minimum wage the whole time plus tips plus delivery fees. So I'd walk out with a Saturday or something. You could easily make like 200 and like you said 220 something like that. But now, like most days, I make more than that on YouTube. Even when I don't post a video, even in this month that's down, I'm still making close to that amount every single day on YouTube. When I'm out playing golf in the morning and thrifting and making YouTube videos and going live and working my dream job, not putting miles on my car and smelling like egg rolls all the time. It's crazy how much your life can change. Uh, I don't know. I never thought I'd be in a situation where like I don't think YouTube's like quite passive income, but um, I don't know. It's just
now,
there's so much
now,
opportunity out there nowadays.
now you guys making me want to quit my job. I actually
I
just,
mean,
sorry to change the subject, but I actually just got a new route at the post office, which will help me go to thrift stores on my lunch break. So I can go to Goodwill on my lunch break. And then on my 10-minute break, I actually delivered to a Salvation Army on my route. So I could
Yo,
run in there really quick, see if I could find anything and run out. So I'm super pumped about that. So, but like, listening to you guys and, listening to you guys even throughout the year or year and a half that I've known both of you guys is it's crazy that that's basically not exactly what I make. I probably make a little bit more, but like just thinking about how much time I put into that and then come home and then do YouTube and do eBay, not to the potential I want to, but it just I like look up to both of you guys and just being thankful that I even have a job first of all with the post office, but what I could
yeah,
bring to the table if I did do this full time. And that's why I have Destiny going full time to see how she does, especially in the area that we live in. Thinking about what we can find out there through 10 thrift stores. I mean, we found a decent amount of things, but you never know. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed of, a full nine to
yeah,
five job. But once you find those items, like we found this burglar alarm that will pay probably $150 that we paid $4 for today. A pair of boots that we can sell for an Ariat pair of boots. We bought for like $8. We could sell for 120. And you're
yeah,
talking, were delivering Chinese food. You were delivering pizza, and it's just so cool that we can find these things and we can sell these things and find more of it and sell more. I'm just so thankful that I do this on the side, to go on
yeah,
vacation to, that's what mostly mainly of these people that listen to this podcast or listen to us on YouTube is they do it on the side. They do it for vacation money. Some people do it full time, but most of the people
yeah,
do it part time, which is crazy, and, they see the potential they can do to go full time, but people are like, I got a full time job and I got the benefits, but are you happy? If you're happy at your job, then that's
yeah,
great, but you know,
I think happiness definitely has a monetary value. People, when you're thinking about quitting your job, everybody wants to compare, like, oh, what about benefits and
right.
insurance and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what about happiness? What about
Exactly.
your freedom to go to every one of your kids' soccer games without having to,
Exactly.
you know, find somebody to cover your shift when you're sick? And it's just, there's so much BS that comes with being an employee over owning your own business. And your situation's different because you actually have a good job.
Yeah.
That working with the post office is what most people would
That's
consider a
why
very good job.
that's why it's so difficult for me to quit my job, especially
It is.
now, you know, and a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, "Joey, don't do it." I'm like, "Please, like just listen to me." Like imagine you, like I have my little brother, perfect example, like he plays football every Saturday morning and I can't go to it because I'm working. And I only could do it
Yeah.
once out of every 6 weeks when I have off on that weekend. And it's sad, dude. Like I want to be there and I feel bad. I'm calling my mom like, "Hey, how's he doing?" You know, when I should be there. You know, I should be there.
Yeah.
And when I have kids, you know, I want to be there for them too, and I want to be there for my brother. He's only a little kid once, and you know, time just flies. Time just goes by way too fast, and I just need Destiny. Are you listening, Destiny? Let's work a little harder. Let's do this. I'm so proud of you. I love you, and you know, let's do this together. And yeah, I'm quitting my job tomorrow. So I'm just kidding. Eventually, I will. Eventually.
Yeah. I was just thinking, in your situation, it is tough to make that decision, but like, I don't know, like anytime I see somebody working at like I went to McDonald's the other day. I haven't been to McDonald's in like 3 years. And I went to try one of their new chicken sandwiches. And the lady at the counter was just like, she was like one of the most rude people I've ever met in my life. And I'm like, okay, obviously you hate your job. Maybe you're having a really bad day, but it's pretty clear that you hate your job. You're not passionate about this. You have no care in the way you're treating me as a customer. I'm like, I don't know, especially like older folks. I don't know, maybe especially younger folks. Like I feel like there's so much wasted potential with the younger generation. They all want to get like their first job as like a minimum wage thing, working with their friends. I'm like, why? Then you're gonna have to work on Saturdays and nights, and you're like just working away, like just flip stuff. There's a kid in my church, say a kid, I think he was like 16, 17 at the time. Now he's like 19 maybe. I was trying to get him into flipping, and like one of the first times he went to Goodwill, he found a GPS unit for $4 and sold it for like 110. And I'm like, sweet, like that's great, you're into it now. He's like, I'm just kind of over it now. I'm like, what do you
What?
mean you're over it now? And then he goes and gets a job at like a landscaping company.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, so instead of thrifting, which you just proved yourself that's possible, you're gonna go make like $11 an hour working in the 105-degree, 100% humidity heat, spreading pine straw. Like, I do not understand it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not guaranteed. It's not a guaranteed income, but neither is real estate. Neither is sales. Like those types of jobs that thousands, millions of people work in, they don't
Yep.
have a guaranteed income. Yet they still, a lot of them make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a year.
Yep.
Like so many people just want that to be pacified by that guaranteed income. Like I'll sacrifice 45 hours a week of my freedom, and I'll have to like ask you to go to the bathroom every time. But in return, you give me $1,100 every 2 weeks. Like screw that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have benefits though. We'll give you a little bit of insurance. We'll match your 401k. Freaking like when I quit when I got
Josh
laid
is
off, and
Josh is starting to rage.
He is. I
I
love it.
am,
I
dude.
love
I
it.
am. Like everybody's so worried about benefits. Like my insurance job gave me like a 3% match for my 401k, which equated to them basically giving me $1,200 a year. So I'm like, okay, if I can make an extra $1,200 a year, $100 a month, I can match my own 401k, and it'd be the same financially. Like health insurance is probably the biggest one to like the most expensive thing that you'd have to like cover yourself. But I don't know. It's just so many people are scared. I guess they don't think they can do it. They don't think they can find enough inventory. I don't know a single reseller out there. I've never heard of anybody where the problem in their reselling business is a lack of inventory. It's always something else. Not enough time to list, or not good enough at organization, or
Right.
blah blah blah. It's never that I can't find enough stuff to resell.
I've actually heard that excuse quite a few times, which is crazy because mostly I get those in my Instagram DMs. is I can't say that I've had it recently, but in my DMs, I get people that are like, Drew, why are you always finding such good stuff? Where I live, it's impossible to find anything to make money. And I'm like, listen, I could go to any city in the country and make money.
Yeah.
There's stuff out there. If Renzi just bought a house by selling shoes, they just post on their Instagram, congratulations, Ryan and Lindsay, if you're
Congrats, that's
listening to
crazy.
this. But they basically said just purchased our first real estate property, all from selling shoes. And that's crazy to me. They don't even, I sell way more than shoes, obviously, but shoes is a big part of my reselling business now, partially because of them.
Yeah.
And, the fact that all they do is shoes and they live in Maine, which isn't like a major state or city, and they're able to make a full time living with employees now doing part of their business for them, selling only shoes and then to buy a house from it. You can literally make money anywhere in the country. I don't care where you are. And if it's really that bad, move. That's
Yeah. I mean,
that's
if yeah,
the hard truth, but it's like if that's what you want to do is you want to be a full-time reseller and you think your area is that bad, you need to get up and move then and go to a place where the sourcing is plentiful. Nick Woolsey, he said he lives in Virginia and there's like 24 thrift stores within an hour of where he lives when he met with us for the video. And
mhm,
he says there's hardly anybody around him. There's hardly any resellers. So move to Virginia.
yeah.
Anfisa is in
I have
Alaska. She's in Alaska and she makes a full-time living selling only clothing living in Alaska. It's insane.
there's definitely opportunity out there. But I will say that if you live in Los Angeles or San Francisco or some big city like that, then yeah, your thrift stores are probably going to be full retail prices and there's probably going to be, resellers out the yin yang. So it will be more difficult there. But, and also like overseas, like I've had a lot of people say in the UK and in Canada, like it's hard to find stuff. Yeah, because you don't live in a wasteful society like the United States. United States is like the best place for resellers because everybody just throws great stuff away all the time because we live in a throwaway society. You literally, in most states in the United States, you can probably make a full-time living just reselling stuff that people put out beside the road for free if you really try it.
I do it. Listen, I do it when I'm in my mail truck. I literally drive. I love garbage day because I can, while I deliver to the mailbox, there's a trash can right there and there's stuff hanging out of it. And, I've gotten
Yeah.
Nerf guns. I've gotten Xboxes. I've gotten Guitar Hero guitars. I've gotten a bunch of stuff for free. I've gotten two Wii's in the garbage. No kidding. Wii Sports in the console twice in both of them. I mean, they're even just garbage picking. I mean, literally know what day your garbage is and go out and go get it. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about telling Destiny on Thursday, Thursday night, go out there. We'll get my mom and dad's golf cart. We'll drive around our neighborhood and literally
Get
just
some black eye makeup to
black
put
eye
on.
makeup, a bandana,
Ski
anything. A
masks.
ski mask will be, dude. We're almost somersault down the driveway. I don't care. Find inventory. You can find inventory anywhere. Just
So true.
do it.
Yep. You really can find inventory anywhere. I found a rainbow vacuum on the side of the road, like 4 houses down from my house, and a queen filter queen, a rainbow vacuum, and a filter queen. I sold the filter queen in less than 3 days for $200, somewhere between 200 and 250. And the rainbow vacuum I parted out, and I've probably made over $200 parting that out. And it was just free on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just
In terms of competition too, I always get that message like there's too much competition. I went to the bins today at like 1:30 in the afternoon. Everything had been picked through pretty much already, and in one of the bins was a Halloween blow mold, like a jack-o'-lantern with a black cat on top of it.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, this is just sitting here. And I grabbed it, a couple other things, went to go check out. And my friend George was in there. He's a reseller, he sells at the flea market. And he's like, yeah, I saw that and I put it back. It's just too big. I'm like, you could just throw this up on Facebook Marketplace and it'll sell today. And he's like, I don't know, it's not really Halloween. I'm like, okay. I brought it home, listed it on Facebook Marketplace, sold it for $75.
wow.
What?
Like, and it's local. I don't even have to ship it. because that, I mean, I do have my knowledge about blow molds. Like I know those are going to sell if they're priced right, fast. Doesn't matter what season they are. But I mean, that guy's been he's probably twice my age. He's been reselling probably longer than I've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
But he put that item back. I mean, I paid $1.50 for it. Something that he put back because he didn't want to deal with it because it was too big, and it sold in less than an hour on Facebook.
That's one of the reasons why I do love going to the bins in my area, because there's really like two main types of people in the area that I live, that go to the bins, at least from my personal experience. The first type of person is the Haitian women and men. I don't know what they do with their clothing. I don't know if they send it back to Haiti or if they're bringing it to the flea markets or if they're doing a little bit of both or what. But there's those types of people that pick up pretty much everything. And then there's the vintage guys. The
Mm-hmm.
vintage guys are only there for vintage. And then you have a couple of posh girls and posh ladies and eBay sellers here and there. But the vintage people and the Haitians leave so much stuff on the table. I pick up like Levi's jeans. I found Miss Me jeans new with tags the last time I was at the bins, and they were just sitting right on top. And I was like, how is anybody not picking these up right now? And it's just crazy what people leave behind because it's either not vintage or, you know, they go for all these like broken hard goods and electronics and TVs and things. And I found an iPod the other day
Yeah.
just sitting in a bin. Like, that's more money than the garbage broken Bose speaker that you just picked up, you
Yeah.
know, that's like all exposed and you can see whatever. So
I
anyway,
mean,
um,
that's like me today with my girl. We were in Goodwill, and you go to your certain locations, and Destiny was looking in the in the skirts, the women's skirts that I would never look in. I mean, I don't know if you guys would, but we're guys, I mean, it's just
I just told you guys about that skirt before the
yeah.
podcast today that I've had listed for 2 years.
That's true.
I
But
don't know anything about
but
skirts.
she like picked up this. It's like loudmouth. I don't know. It has Florida State Seminoles on it, and she could probably sell it for
Yeah,
like $50.
Loudmouth is a golf brand.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, it's super expensive.
yeah. So she found that. I was like, I would have never found that. I seriously would have never found it. And
Yeah,
there's different people out there with different niches, dishes. I don't know how to say it.
niches.
Niches.
Okay.
But
Dishes.
uh,
Joey.
but everyone has their own clique, on buying stuff. So that's why there's so much inventory out there for everybody.
Yeah, you can always specialize in it, man. You got Casey, the golf guy. He does only golf
Yep.
clubs. I know a lot about golf clubs. I thought I did until I started talking to Casey. That guy knows like he saw like a clip of one of my
Carolina
golf club.
Thrifter, right?
Yeah, Carolina
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thrifter. He saw like a ping club in like the corner of one of my videos. He's like, "Oh, that's made of nickel or something, so it's not going to be that model's made of nickel. It's not going to be like the steel model. It's going to sell for like $80." So I had it listed for like 20 at the time. So I unlisted it and relisted it for like 75, and I don't think it's sold yet, but sold comps show that it does sell for 60 to $80.
That's crazy. Shout out
That's
Casey.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love when people do that. Like the wholesale box video that I just posted. There was a pair of shape ups in there, and I was like, shout out Joey if you're watching this. There's some shape ups in here, and like the people that actually watched the video, there was a couple people in there that were like, don't list the shape ups, and there's a couple people that are like, sell those shape ups, sell. Like in my head, that's how I think they're saying it to me.
Yeah.
Someone said, I just sold a pair of shape ups on Poshmark for $60. And I'm like, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
I sold a pair today, I think for $29, free shipping. They've been listed for like a year and a half.
Oh, those are degraded. Like literally, like
okay. Before I packed them up, I did the bin test. I squeezed the crap out of them. I think they're good to go, but we'll see.
You better pray for them.
I hope just for the sake of being able to rub it in Joey's face that they don't get returned.
I hope they do, and you better say something. You better tell me if they get returned.
I want to see. I want to see how much they actually sold for. So I'm not lying to you here.
While you're looking that up, let me throw in a little plug real quick. Joey, Josh, and I are all going to be on Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunters YouTube channel tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, and you probably won't hear this podcast until after that's been recorded, but go back and watch the playback. It's a battle of the beards, thrift battle, me versus Joey. We each have to present 5 items head to head, and the live audience votes on who had the better items, and it's a winner take all. And Josh is a special guest referee, so I'm not sure if he gets like the final vote for each category or how Dominic is doing that, if he's just having him on there for fun. But I know it's going to be a good time, and the playback will be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys go watch that. And I lost my first thrift battle on his channel to Troy Mountain Man Treasure, so I'm looking for a little redemption. I gotta beat Joey. I lost to both of them in Blake Knobloch's reseller bracket, so I need a dub, guys. I really need a dub.
Wow.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Should be fun.
My Skechers, they've been, I don't know how to tell when they've been listed. They've been listed for a long time, over a year, and they sold for $22 plus shipping.
Okay,
I think I got them at the bins too.
Nice.
Good luck.
I'm worried. Don't be. They're not going to come back. You're going to be A-okay. So
I hate shape ups. If you guys know, I
okay,
hate
so we know that Joey hates shape ups. Let's finish off the podcast by each talking about one thing that we absolutely hate selling and one thing that we absolutely love selling. So Joey, you go first because we know you hate shape ups.
So he's doing.
So
What are we saying? It's like something else.
something that you hate, and then something that you love, but you can say something else too other than shape ups. But we know that's your main.
I hate shape ups. I mean, that's really all I know right now. I can't really think. I just know I hate shape ups with a passion. If you guys haven't
so
watched,
mad.
if you guys haven't watched my YouTube video of the funeral of the two, the returns of my shape ups, and I threw them away, go watch it. Go ahead, Drew.
So what do you love to sell?
Oh,
What's
what
your
I-
favorite thing?
what
Right?
I
What's your
lo-
favorite thing to sell?
What I love to sell is what do I love to sell? I really love GameCube games. Love GameCube games. When I find them, they just sell like insta fast, like so fast. It's just like one of those great things that I've found. You know, one of my buddies from the post office was, I think I told the story, and I got them for free, and I literally sold them all in like 4 days. Like that's crazy. I made like $400, like for free. Like that's crazy. So I love GameCube games.
Josh.
I think one of my favorite things to sell is just video games in general. Like GameCube games do sell really fast, but anything video game related. Like I was actually walking. I posted on my neighborhood Facebook group a couple weeks ago that I was looking for a Nintendo Wii, and we were walking Moe's the other day, and this neighbor guy, I don't know him. He's like, "Oh, you posted on the Facebook group?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, we got a Wii, but I'm not going to sell it to you." I was like, "Okay, thanks for telling me." And then he asked like why I needed it, and I was like, I've got a bunch of like cords and stuff to it, but I don't have the actual unit. I'm just looking for to complete the unit." He's like, "Oh, okay." And then he goes inside and gives me the Wii unit. He's like, "Yeah, we don't have the cords, so you can just have this." So
What?
just gives it to me for free.
Are you serious?
And it's super easy. The Wii units, as long as I've got cords with it, but you could sell it as is. Throw it in pull a shed flips and throw it in a padded flat rate envelope with no
Jeez.
other protection and just
Are
send
you
it out.
serious? He
I don't
does
do
that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At least he used to. But he said this worked for him. But they just sell fast. I mean, of course, 2020 you can get $50-$60 for them, console only. But nowadays it's gone down a little bit, but they're still super fast sellers. So yeah, video games, favorite thing to sell. Least favorite thing, I don't know, just big stuff. Like everything I see so like I talked about it before, just hustling hooks, picking up blenders that are going to sell for like $70 free shipping. I'm like, no, I would never. I told you guys I found that TV at the bins. It was like a small TV, like a 12 by 12 inch TV with a built-in VCR, is worth like $100, and I left it. I was like, I'm not messing with that. I get so lazy when it comes to big stuff, except that blow mold, because I knew I wasn't going to ship that. I knew that was going to sell locally. So if it's something like that I can sell locally, I'll grab it. But if it's something like a weird, like heavy electronic that I'm definitely gonna have to ship, no, it's got to be worth like $500. I'm just not going to mess with it.
Yeah.
All right,
And
Drew.
then
Go ahead, Drew. I know
so
you're excited.
so
I know you're excited. Go a little
I mean,
slower.
I have a lot of stuff that I love and hate. But I was just gonna ask real quick, Josh, would golf clubs be your next thing after video games?
I do. I do like selling golf clubs because I've never had a return on a golf club. Like people that buy golf clubs, like no, they know what they want. As long as you show the grip, show the shaft, show the flex, show the condition. I mean, they're not going to return it. Um, they're fun to find, but I don't really find a lot though. I mean, obviously I got that big lot, but in terms of like finding them in the wild, it's pretty
In
rare
the
that I
wild.
find valuable ones out there.
So I would say that my favorite thing to resell is probably Guitar Hero and Rock Band stuff.
Hmm.
To me, that sells faster than almost anything else as far as consistency is concerned. No matter what make, what model it is, if it's tested and working, I can sell it. And I find they're really easy to ship. I can normally sell a guitar, put it in a 1095 with a 1092 box on top of it, and then you just slide them together, and you just ship it out. And the Rock Band stuff, I've just been able to kind of like the drum sets and everything, I've just figured out a really quick way for me to bubble wrap them, fold them up, put them in a reshaped box. And I really like it because the profit is just really good for me most of the time. Um, so I'd say that, like, I think everybody really likes selling video games that's sold them before, but I would say like Guitar Hero and Rock Band stuff is probably my favorite. And then anything that's just small and easy to ship. Like that's one reason why I still sell clothing is because t-shirts, you know, you can normally get them pretty cheap, $1.99 at Goodwill or, at the bins, they're by the weight. And jeans, you can buy jeans for $5.99 and sell them for 30, $40 and put them in a padded flat rate envelope, and they're just easy to ship. Now you do have to deal with more returns on those, but I just like stuff that's easy to ship. Uh, on the complete opposite side of Rock Band, where most people find those hard. But the thing I hate the most, man, I think that it would probably be a tie between a couple things for me. Like I really just don't enjoy um like the random electronic stuff anymore, like the Onkyo stereo receivers, and the Yamaha receivers and stuff like that. And the reason is because the way that I used to test them is I used to plug them in, power it on, you know, and make sure the buttons worked, and then I'd say tested and working. And then I'd get a return request saying, the FM dial doesn't fully extend out with the antenna search button or something. And I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? You
Yeah.
know? So I actually don't even look a lot of those up anymore. I don't care how much they sell for. Kind of like Josh with the
Dude,
TV. I'm
those
like,
those two Onkyo stereo receivers I found in the Goodwill pallet. Guess what I did with them?
threw them away.
Donated them to Goodwill. I've looked up sold comps. They're worth like, one of them was worth like 200 and something dollars. I'm just like, I'm not going to list it. I don't know how to test it. I have no idea what this thing is. I asked a buddy of mine that owns a pawn shop if he would want it. He's like, not really, man. Nobody really buys them at pawn shops. So
Yeah.
I just
I
leave them
know
again.
that there's value there, and I know that some people do really good with them. I'm just not like a I don't want to say a nerd, like a tech nerd. So like that kind of stuff just I don't have the patience. Like the way that I test DVD combo units when I pick them up, I'm only picking up combo units if they can sell for like over $80 at this point. If it's like
Yeah.
a $50 combo unit, even if it's $5, most of the time I'm not picking them up because there's so many listed and there's so many people to compete with.
Yeah.
So, I'm being a lot more picky because I think DVD combo units is the thing that I have the highest return rate on anything on my eBay store. More than shoes, more than clothing is DVD combo units where I'll power them on, I'll test them, I'll put a VHS in it, I'll press play, I'll eject it, I'll put a DVD in, I'll fast forward it, and it all seems to be working. And for some reason, when it arrives, item is not working, and then you got to pay for the shipping back. And most of the time, the buyer doesn't know how to repack it. They'll use a completely different box. They'll throw it in a black trash bag, and just send it. I've gotten stuff broken and returned, and then there's nothing you can do about it.
I guess now's not a good time to tell you that the VCR sold for you on Amazon for $580 was returned.
You are so lying.
I'm kidding.
Look at his face.
Well, that's the
For
end of
those of
this
you that
podcast, guys. Thanks for listening.
I got it. So Drew found this VCR combo unit at the flea market for like $40.
$40.
$40. We looked it up on my Amazon seller app, and it was selling for like $580. So I listed it for $580. It took maybe like a month and a half to sell, and it sold $580. Took me a couple weeks to get paid from Amazon, and it's been sold for a month and a half now, maybe. I've officially given Drew his small share of the profits. So it could still be returned, but I think by now we should be good. But I was very nervous. That's the most expensive thing I've ever sold on Amazon.
Yeah.
Most expensive thing I've sold in a long time.
Me too.
On any platform. $580.
Yeah, it was a killer sale, so I'm really happy about that. But certain ones like that, I'm willing to pick up, because when I was at the flea market, it was actually hooked up to a TV, like showing you that it was working as I was there. I was like, oh, that's cool. And so that was a really good deal. But I don't know why I get so many returns, even though I test them. And so the amount of time it takes to source, clean, test, ship, list, that over a t-shirt where I can take a picture of the front and the back and take 2 measurements real quick and list it. It's its ship time is 30 seconds on a t-shirt, where it takes me 5 minutes, 10 minutes to pack up a DVD combo unit. I love making the money on them because most of the time the profit margins are great, but I'm just tired of the returns on them. So I've pretty much exhausted myself from them, unless it's $100 plus unit.
I feel you, Boo Drew.
I feel you, Boo Drew. All right, you guys, we are done with episode 20 of the Triple Thrift podcast. I have no idea when this is going to be posted, because we just posted episode 19 yesterday. But whenever you listen to this, we love you so much. Shout out to Janet, the lady I saw in Goodwill the other day that was listening to our podcast. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody listening to the podcast. We love you so much. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.